I was super drunk at the end of that last episode. It hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
Hype Attack Season 2, Episode 1. Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Why'd you make a
So good once it hits the lips.
Oh, yeah, because drinking's orgasmic.
Hey guys, welcome to the Hype Attack Podcast.
where we weigh in on the latest in nerd and pop culture hype.
We are there.
We're the excited conversation we all have with our friends.
About the nerdy things we love.
And geek about. We are
The Hype Attack. I am the hype.
Have
Hey,
to hold
everybody.
us this whole time.
What's up? What's up?
We're back. Season 2. It's been a couple months. I missed everybody. I missed y'all. I missed the listeners.
Absolutely.
Hype Nation.
You guys, if you're still here with us, please. I mean, like,
They missed us.
It was.
I haven't stopped drinking since that last episode. I survived.
It's been an interesting couple months off, but speaking mainly for myself, I have missed this whole layout, this whole thing that we come together every week and just talk shit about stuff.
Back in the studio, baby.
Oh, even
So
when the
this-
mics
this
aren't
feels
on.
good.
Yeah, even when the mics aren't on, you get the four of us together. We all just like gravitate around whatever, core nerd thing, and you start talking about some things here and there, and then we just go off. We're like, we should be
and
recording.
that's how this was born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish someone just had a backpack with all the studio equipment. Just like Doc Ock the mics.
Season 3, dude.
Yeah, we'll be in the middle of the mall. So you guys want to talk about this stuff? Fucking Doc Ock. Yeah. Mics coming out. We're just recording,
It's Hype Attack time.
eating our Cinnabon and Sabaro.
With release forms, and we
Yeah.
And the Patreon version of that, where it's not mics, it's butt plugs. So
Absolutely.
four of
Yeah.
them come out.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we're ready to
Season
go.
2, we're still here, man.
Still on.
It's still
Still
that's what it's
on it.
about.
Unfortunately, we're still here.
It's actually how we have our production meetings. We always argue when I go, whoa. Who has a talking butt plug?
Yeah, the spirit plug. Yeah.
Spirit plug.
Yeah.
Not
That's
me.
what
I
we've been
never
up
had
to.
that.
This one's got a lot of spirit on it.
If anybody was wondering, they're like, oh, what are these guys going to do to improve season 2? We introduce the spirit plug.
Yeah.
We're we're talking all the same shit that we've always talked, but this time it's gonna be on video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got video. As I'm
man.
pointing at the camera. Yeah, that means I got a shower and shit.
Oh, yeah.
So, guys, interesting winter break. Anybody do anything they want to share with the class?
I mean, I think we all stood in the realm of nerdy.
Yeah, my mind's blank. No, I went to the video game awards.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
I went to it and that was fun.
But it was like awesome. Like, I'm like, this motherfucker's like,
Yeah, I'm
checking out
glad I
some
went.
shit.
I'm glad I went.
Were you overwhelmed? Whelmed?
I was drunk. I got there.
There it is.
That's a theme.
I got there early because I wanted to beat traffic, and then I didn't know what to do for a couple hours. And there's a Yard House right there, and I hadn't been to a Yard House in a while, and they got a good beer selection. I'm a very big
Yeah, they
fan of your Belgian triples and quads and dark ales and golden
Were you
ales.
drinking? Were you drinking with other nerds?
I mean, I was by myself, but I was certainly like amongst the nerds, and I also learned like
was it a whole scene? Like just like the atmosphere was all
oh yeah,
nerds.
I think everyone around me was just talking about games, like way more passionate than I am, which is weird because I'm passionate about games.
What an atmosphere to be.
But the show itself was fun.
any
we're-
cosplayers there?
no, I don't think they allowed cosplaying.
Okay.
But there was certainly people that attempted to cosplay without cosplaying.
Like a mild form of it, like
Yeah.
Disney bounding.
yeah, like I'm
kinda
in,
thing.
a, I'm in a
Bounding.
suit. I'm in a suit, but the suit matches a character. Or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
sort of
Yeah.
inspired by.
Yeah,
Got it.
it was cool though. I mean, I love video games. I never, as a kid, imagined a world where we would have video game awards.
Yeah.
and we have them now.
Any big announcements at the awards?
There was a lot, but I think we're gonna talk about that in a later episode.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too much into it.
Save
So-
that. Anyone else?
I didn't go to the video games awards. Is that what you're asking me? No.
Besides the video game awards, I've been actually getting back into watching anime, which I'm excited to discuss the Blue-Eyed Samurai, which is going to be on a later episode.
Yeah,
But
it's about time blue-eyed people got representation.
I am definitely hyped to talk about that because I will say I did not expect that to be that epic.
It was really good.
And it was, yes. I second that. But yeah, that was one of the things I got into, and
That's the next thing on my list of things to watch.
Me as well have to consume that so we can actually speak about it coherently.
8 episodes of epicness.
Don't give me that fucking look.
I thought you guys were all up on it.
No, man.
Oh,
got
no, they're not
things
up
to
on the
do,
hype.
okay?
Sorry, Jermaine. I thought we were
busy
working
with
with
stuff.
professionals.
Wow.
That's why it's.
This is how
That's why it's a further out
I
episode.
really
Okay?
thought like
season 2
stop it.
starting off.
Stop it.
I've been doing my usual like movie shit, but watching a fuckload of movies, trying to catch up with doing reviews and in between like doing work now that we're in the winter season. But just to make it a little bit of a movie corner. I mean, there's some big movies that we're gonna do like either part episodes on, or I'm gonna have like our own hype forehead, plus hype and forehead films movie review that we do together. But just recently, I watched David Fincher's The Killer. So fucking good.
that fight scene.
The fight scene was okay. So here's the thing: like we're talking about all these movies, right? We're gonna let the cat out of the bag. We're gonna do a Godzilla episode because we all saw -1. Fucking amazing. This episode today we're covering Rebel Moon, and these movies are so involved because of the mythology, the lore, the backstory, all this like heavy stuff, right? Sorry, I hit my head on the
Heavy
mic.
stuff.
Yeah.
Intentional.
But so it was so nice to watch a movie that it didn't have all of that heaviness. It was just, I mean, yes, the movie's called The Killer, and you're following I forget the actor's name.
Fassbender?
Michael Fassbender, yeah. And he is just a contract killer, and it's not as flashy as John Wick. Nothing against the John Wick movies, but it's very simple and straight to the point, and there's no overall theme of anything. It's just, here's what it is. It's a little snippet into his life and the reason why he's doing what he's doing later on, and he has to fix it. And that's it. And it ends with like, and there you go. There's a movie. And it was fun to watch.
Can I join you in maybe a long episode of Forehead Films talking about that movie? Because I loved it.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's
make
do
it
that.
happen.
Hype Attack and Forehead Films coming together. Yeah, and I'm still doing my Forehead Films, still doing my podcast. I started kind of putting stuff every couple of weeks out because it was becoming a lot. Much credit to Rudy for editing our podcast first season. Yeah, that's a lot. And then I'm very neurotic.
Now we're doing video.
And now we're doing video.
Whole another set of skills I gotta learn.
And
I mean, we'll see. It might be too
Leveled
much.
up.
Well, and that's the other thing too. So I'm like very neurotic in particular. So I make sure it's sounding a particular way when it comes to YHST, which is, you haven't seen that podcast for short. But the other thing too is like, I think me, you, and Doug. I don't think you've been fucking around with the video editor, DaVinci Resolve. It's been consuming our lives, and it's like the point that it's the source of my aggression recently because it's because like I love the things that it can do, but like the other editor I was using, InShot, was very simple, it's user friendly, straight to the point. But DaVinci has so much to go along with it. So I've been nerding out on that, been practicing on it, so that way we can help each other pump out fantastic fucking video for our listeners in season 2.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a stumble, I think, at the beginning for us as we try to get our shit dialed in, but it's all learning. It's all good. We'll get there eventually. We did all go as a group to LA Comic Con. Mm-hmm. We're gonna talk about that, and maybe its own episode.
Yeah.
Maybe a split episode or something else. But and then we have video of that as well, which is in
Including
the pipe.
Interviews.
Oh yeah,
Including interviews.
that was new
we
for
got a
us.
little- those in
If
there.
these jerks went and got interviews,
Learning experience.
I don't have
Tried twisting
that
your arm about
gift.
it.
I don't have that gift. I'm like, yeah, you guys do it. I'll take all the B-roll.
I have to say, I think I made a Facebook post for those of you that, for those boomers that follow me on Facebook. I used to be someone that would just get beet red and sweaty talking to people.
Yeah.
I get my
And-
butt.
Yeah.
It's a different issue.
And to be able to just walk up to someone random and like, yeah,
Nope.
I mean,
It was. I was very proud of myself after the day. I mean, I fucked up. I talked too loud into the mic, but I still did it.
not to deep dive too much about the whole Comic-Con thing, but like, I was like, I got this. I got the energy to do these, and then
Oh yeah, you crumbled.
came the moment, and I was like, maybe we could shoot some intro stuff before that, and interview the first person, and I like turned beet red, and I'm a Mexican, like it's hard for me to blush, and I was like, my ears were hot. And then we all, sort of like stumbled together and figured it out. And by the end, I think we had some decent enough interviews.
Oh yeah, you just
But
need to
it's
see
first
a
of
little
many.
courage.
First of
You
many.
just needed a little courage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a great experience though.
Some courage.
A little key bump.
Wow.
Speaking of video, my grandpa was like, "Oh, are you guys gonna be on the YouTube?" And I was like, "Yeah." So, hi, grandma.
After that, yes.
We're gonna be there.
She just-
Oh no, I already told Rudy this story. I was recently up at my grandma's for Christmas, and she was asking about YouTube and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, we have a YouTube video. So I pulled up the Marvels video, and thank God it was really loud at the party because I don't think she heard, because that video starts with you just talking about Carol Danvers' ass.
No, to be specific, it was Carol Danvers and Monica Rambeau's ass. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and so it was just like, yeah, that's our podcast.
No,
Butts.
that's me.
Just butts.
That's what
there
it
we
looks
go.
like.
Yeah.
There it is.
The thoughts and
Butts.
views coming out of Forehead's mouth do not reflect those of the Hypertech.
Yeah, and
There should be a viewer discretion is
maybe.
advised.
Yeah, go on that graphic.
yeah.
The second the end of the first season, the second half of it was just basically Jermaine going, "You're gonna have to reel it in for the next season." I was like, sorry, that's not gonna happen.
Anyway,
Sorry,
so
Jermaine.
We'll edit that shit out.
let's.
It was there in the episode.
So, guys,
That's what we've been up to, and I'm sure we're going to continue to talk about what all we did during this break. But during this break, one of I would say our favorite directors, at least, someone we definitely idolize, Zack Snyder,
Yep.
put out a new movie called Rebel Moon. My cousin was a set worker who worked on the sets on that.
what was it called?
Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon? Oh, okay, cool.
Rebel Moon?
Rebel Moon.
Question mark? Rebel Moon?
Oh, it was Rebel Moon Part 1, Child of Fire or something, right?
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which-
I guess
I just-
Part 1 is important.
I just wanted a reason to hit my button to put the poster up.
Oh,
That's all.
the button. That is nice. Look at that.
That's a magic button.
Hold on. That's this way. Wait. Fucking.
Damn it.
Wait. What?
See?
What? No.
Content. You wanted video, here's video.
What? Am I
This is
stupid?
all content.
Can I not do it? Oh, I need to.
What's the
All right, that's enough.
fusion high?
Jesus.
Never even figured it out. How do
Swear to God.
Hold on.
Yay, Rebel Moon! That's what we're talking about this
We
episode.
did it.
Yes.
Fusion butt.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh yeah. Me and Rudy actually went to that premiere in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, you guys gotta enjoy it beyond the big
Tell us
screen,
about it.
beyond the TV screen.
Real quick, let me just.
Do it.
Grab it faster.
So, there's a company that does like extra work, and in that extra work, they have like audiences for shows and stuff. And they popped up with the Hollywood premiere, and we went. And I never get like the good priority tickets where you get to actually see the red carpet and then go in with the cast and crew. But we still got into an early screening, and in that early screening, and I'll pop up a little video window right here somewhere. Zack Snyder actually
here.
Zack Snyder actually popped up in the theater. Like he came in. Like
Fucking cool.
The other one we went to for King Kong, no one came in. They just played the movie. He came in the theater and gave it a little intro, which was cool as hell.
Zack Snyder always one who goes out to his fans because he knows, the love we have.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that year we waited in Hall H for Comic-Con, and he drove by in the Batman v Superman
Oh, hell
Batmobile.
yeah.
Like just because he knew we were out there. That was what's up.
I mean,
love it.
Filled the cup with that.
the fans are so important that, and Rotten Tomatoes, the score doesn't really hold a lot of weight. Do you not want me to get into it?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, it's a little hot take, but I mean, the fans are so important that the score from the critics was vastly different from that of the audience. So the audience rated it, I think, a 63%, and the critics were like a 24%.
Yeah.
And I can see both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. They got some hit points on that.
Thick
Yeah.
ass glasses. You better be able to see both sides.
How dare you? That's one glasses wearer to
All right,
another.
so I guess there's no Vaseline on this. We're just jumping right in.
Yeah.
It's a complicated movie.
Can I ask though?
I have complicated feelings about it.
What did you guys know going into this movie?
Zack Snyder made it.
I knew that he originally pitched it as a Star Wars movie.
Yes.
And Disney was kind of like, no. I think originally he pitched it as a rated R Star Wars movie.
A more mature Star Wars movie.
And I appreciate his argument of just like, Star Wars has been around a while. Like original fans of Star Wars have grown up, and maybe we can give them that grown up, mature version of it. And Disney, I think, kind of told him like, yeah, someday, maybe. And he basically was like, all right, never mind. I'll just make my own. So this was certainly an adaptation of his original Star Wars pitch, and I think that's very obvious.
Yeah, and amongst a lot of other things, there were those inspirations. Sometimes there was like some heavy inspirations.
Yeah.
Where to that point where it took me out of it just a bit, because it's one thing to be inspired, and then it's another thing for me to go, was that an inspiration or was that a bite off of? Sometimes it was like a bite off of his own stuff.
But do you feel the same way about that when you watch Quentin Tarantino?
No, because Tarantino will say himself, and I said this in an episode of YHST, where he has said himself that he is able to pull these inspirations and then make his own original thing. Mm-hmm. Whereas this felt, there was a fucking hippogriff in the scene where I was like, that's a 100% bite off of like a Harry Potter thing, including the kneeling.
Hippogriffs exist beyond Harry Potter, though.
The winged horse.
They're literally in the Dungeons and Dragons monster manual.
I figured as much when you guys had brought up Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
right?
Hippogriffs are not something.
I know
they're
they're
a
not
thing.
exclusive to like Harry Potter, but it was like including like that bowing that what was his name, Blood Axe did.
Oh.
I was like, okay, all right.
No, it wasn't Blood Axe. Blood Axe is the brother, the rebel.
What was his name?
Prince shirtless.
Yeah, something forgettable.
Prince Gorgeous.
Yeah, hot abs.
Was Prince? Jermaine, what's the name of the movie?
Prince Ali.
Oh, Tyrok.
Mars.
Of course, his name was
John
Tyrok.
Carter.
He looked like Turok.
John Carter.
Oh,
yeah,
John
He,
Carter.
he actually he really gave me John Carter vibes.
Oh yeah, me too.
That's what I was like.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen John Carter. Sorry, I still haven't seen it, but 100% that guy looked like him. I was like, I don't know what ethnicity he is, but he is dark, oily, and gorgeous. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I the one saying it and everyone was thinking it?
I try not to look at ethnicity.
Instead of height, weight on my license, that's what it says about me. Dark and oily.
Oh, the sexual oils.
The sexual oils.
One of those.
Oh, one day I'll explain that.
Oh, yeah.
Irish crickets.
Who was Blood Axe?
But-
My bad.
Blood Axe was the brother.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was
The guy that should have been
Cyborg,
Aquaman.
The guy that had the little rebellion, the insurgency.
That was Cyborg, right? Was it Cyborg?
Yeah, Ray
Oh, what's
Fisher.
Ray
Yeah, it
Fisher?
was Ray Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not Ray Fisher.
It was Ray
Yeah,
Fisher.
it
Ray
was.
Fisher.
The fuck
Yeah, it
out
was.
of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
I thought he looked familiar.
there was a whole thing about like,
Fuck. Wait. Oh, holy shit.
yeah, Ray Fisher was like one of the biggest like fuck Joss Whedon. He's an asshole. Zack Snyder's amazing. Like during the whole Justice League thing, and so I think Snyder was like, I got you.
Oh yeah. I will say this.
Now I feel bad when I go to the cast list.
Ray Fisher's character in this movie, Rebel Moon, I was like, man, if we could get him as Bishop in X-Men. Oh, yeah. Like, he
make it
looked
happen.
so good.
Kevin Feige, right?
Yeah.
Tag him in this.
The Feige bot.
Yeah,
Enunciate.
good. Reference to She-Hulk season finale. To everybody that made it through that, I still liked it. I liked it.
I liked it too.
I liked it too. Watch it.
Well, this is a different episode. Let's go on.
But so, I mean, science fiction, right? There is still obviously room for originality.
Yeah.
But I feel like between Star Wars and Star Trek and I guess Battlestar Galactica, like so much has been covered within that sci-fi realm. Like once you're dealing with space and empires, and like Warhammer 40,000 is certainly I mean, we've talked about it, and anyone that's within the nerd realm has certainly heard about that recently. It's certainly maybe not in the general public until
It did have some looks and feels of that.
Oh yeah, no, it was heavily influenced. Star Wars and 40K were throughout that whole thing, but Star Wars had its influences, and 40K certainly has gathered influences from everything. And so that complaint, like I think I saw a critique calling Rebel Moon the NFT of sci-fi. Which kind of makes me mad because it fits.
Yeah.
But
I hate it when it proves their point.
But it's like, everything, like even 40K had its influences from all sorts of things. And there's other things. So like the closest to this might be Blizzard's StarCraft games, right? StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2. Great games. People love those stories. They want more of it. But from my understanding, and I could be wrong, again, never fucking take us for granted. I'm pretty sure Blizzard started making StarCraft as a Warhammer 40,000 game. And then Games Workshop pulled out of that agreement, and Blizzard was like, well, fuck it, we'll make our own. And that's why StarCraft is very much, there's Space Marines, there's Zerg, which are very much like Tyranid, and there's Protoss, which are very much like Eldar. Or the Eldari for you new school Warhammer 40,000 fans. So it's not unheard of for these like sci-fi franchises to like pull from one another and do their thing.
Even Rudy said that this has the Seven Samurai, feel like influence.
Oh yeah, and to me, and I know people bitch about it, it's the tropes or whatever. I love that story of just bad guys come and burn a village, and then you go grab you go grab a handful of badasses and you fight them. I think that kind of story can come out once a year, and I'd be happy. Like I love that story, and I get it. It's been done before, but I fucking love it. So keep doing it.
And here's my thing, because you had said Seven Samurai, I was like Magnificent Seven, forgetting that was a version of that. My whole problem isn't things being derivative of, isn't things being inspired. That was just kind of off the top of my head, but it was more of the problem of this movie. The main problem of this movie.
Tell him why you mad, son. Tell him why you mad.
I'm not necessarily mad, but
tell him why you.
But tell him why you. I try to go in this, without being influenced by like the early reviews of this movie. I knew nothing about it. I didn't know that there was an R-rated one that's going to come out. I didn't even know there going to be a fucking part 2. I didn't know there was just a part 1. Kind of like when we were doing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It was like,
so you just don't pay attention.
Nothing. I never happened. I never pay attention.
Oh, you're just losing high points today.
But what I'm saying is the main problem of this movie, where I'm like, I love Snyder. I'm along with you guys. I fucking love Zack Snyder. I think his movies are visually stunning, and that is an understatement. That is absolutely a phenomenal understatement. His movies are, I think somebody had said it in past episodes when we did the Snyderverse breakdown, is you pause any fucking scene, any shot of this thing, and it's a painting. You know?
Yeah. It is visually eye-grabbing.
Again, to say the least.
Visually impressive.
And the master of speed ramping. He's the master of speed ramping. No one fucking speed ramps like Zack Snyder does, right? But that wasn't my problem. My problem was the characters themselves and their motivations or lack thereof, or the weak motivations that didn't make me feel involved with them. I was involved with the world that was built, that was introduced beautifully by Anthony Hopkins. And I love that it was actually the robot. I forget his name that he voiced.
Was it like Jimmy? Johnny? Jimmy? Jimmy.
The simplest name, and I forget it.
We have a friend named Jimmy, so I always question myself.
But beautifully introduced. It was. I think I told you guys before, where it was sort of that the Star Wars intro or epilogue. Crawl. Excuse me. Yes, the crawl. But done by Anthony Hopkins. Like, what better person to have done that but Anthony Hopkins to set up this world? And I was on board, and I was in it, and I was like, yes, let's enjoy the hell out of it. And then the movie played out, and the characters felt flat. I've said it time and time again. In order to give a shit about what's happening to the characters of the movie, is you have to set them up. You have to care about it. Yes, it would be awesome if this was done in a series, but that's the convenience, the
privilege,
the luxury of a series to do that. They don't have to worry about creating this magic trick of doing all of that. You're all more show rather than tell. into this 2-hour visual spectacle.
I do feel like he did try to give us, a little bit of flair, for each character when they were introduced, because each time she went along gathering, the next, they had, some obstacle or something that they had to do, to just give you a idea of who this character is and kind of where they're coming from and all this stuff. So he tried to do it, but for certain people, it didn't work, or they just didn't like, what they gave us.
He gave us the morsels. You're supposed to get the morsels to kind of build that character, kind of satisfy you. Like, oh, there's more to it. I guess my problem was that shit wasn't filling. Like
was
the
it more so like
morsels
appetizer
that
to
I
you?
was getting, I was like, more. Like I needed seconds.
Yeah.
Well, again, and I think I brought this up before on season 1, because we're on season 2 now. Good job for us. Is our
Part 2, hype giver.
expectations, the hype giver. Our expectations for shows and this kind of content, I think, has changed, right? Because opinions are always going to be based off of our cultural experiences and us in the nerd world, because this nerd stuff has been introduced to us as series. I feel like maybe, or like long drawn series, and I feel like maybe our experiences have changed a little bit and our expectations have changed a little bit, where a character gets introduced in like a 10-minute, 15-minute little thing, and we're just like, yeah, I want more. Because we're so used to more. We're used to like a whole episode being dedicated to it.
Because it was almost like Mandalorian, where it's like video game-esque, where you get introduced to a character. Oh, but first I got to do this side quest, and then I can go with you.
Yeah, and Mandalorian gave us a full episode for that kind of stuff, and where this was like had to kind of condense it into a little thing. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago we would have accepted this. And now we're at a point where it's like, no, I want more. And like I was telling us, we were having a conversation before we started recording about just, oh, fuck me. Okay. Is this the first mind break?
Were you about to say if Star Wars came out?
No. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. I don't know what I was about to say. Fuck me. Whatever. I don't know.
Do you think, hold on, you think, because it's sci-fi, because we expect so much backstory and lore and like universe building, that we treat sci-fi movies a little bit harsher when they don't give you all of that, as opposed to like a regular movie about a hitman and the day in his life, where you don't have to build the whole universe. It's just a snippet of his day.
Yeah. I think that's part of the problem even with this. I think people went into this expecting like, okay, we're going to get another Star Wars. We're going to get another universe that I can like dive into and role play and cosplay. Like we people went into this just expecting like a whole universe and a whole world built, and they were disappointed. And instead of just like looking at it as like, was this a good sci-fi movie? I think so. Yes.
Well, I back when it first
Production value.
What fell over?
clean.
Oh no,
Did you
you're
just hit
closer.
something?
Oh,
It was
fuck.
yeah.
Oh, well, it's stuck to the bottom.
Clean.
Back to when we first brought up Rebel Moon, you guys are like, "Oh my god, did you watch the trailer to Rebel Moon?" I was like, "What's Rebel Moon?" Like I knew zero about it, and I kind of wish I knew nothing less, because I feel like part of my critique on it was influenced by you guys telling me like, "Oh yeah, it's supposed to be." It was pitched as a Star Wars film, so I was like, now I'm looking at it through that lens, and I wish that I hadn't. So the question of like, how it was presented to us is like, well, there is all this hype buildup because it is a Snyder movie, and he has all the history behind him of release a Snyder cut. So there's a lot of that background, his backstory. It's hard for him to just put out a movie without having all that, and And then you guys, later telling me like, oh, also he's going to come out with an R version and it's a part 2. I'm like, no, this all seems like a kind of like a manufactured version of the Snyder Cut. I want to look at this movie as just a standalone movie.
I blame Netflix for that though.
Yeah.
Not him.
I think we
in
should
particular.
break down that whole story. It was a matter of he pitched this idea to Disney. They didn't want it as Star Wars. So then, from my understanding, he went to Netflix, and Netflix wanted a PG-13, or Snyder realized that he should just pitch a PG-13 version. And so he went to them with that idea, but then Netflix basically told him like, all right, cool, you give us a PG-13 movie, you can do whatever you want beyond that. So he was able to make this PG-13 version, parts 1 and 2. It was always going to be 2 versions or 2 parts.
Doesn't that feel weird?
No,
it's
it's
Netflix,
very weird. It's
because
never
Netflix of all streaming services, right? They're the streaming service. I mean, I remember even hearing the head of Netflix on Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. He's like, yeah, whoever has their ideas, like we're just gonna fund them. You know what I mean? But for them to be like, no, I want you to put out a PG-13. It was like, whoa, that's a switching gears.
I think it's a matter of just PG-13 is always going to be a larger audience, and
Right.
the idea of bringing in, if they wanted to, because I mean, Star Wars is one of those names, just like Harry Potter, or maybe even just like Star Trek, where it's like let's chase that, because if you could become the next Star Wars, the next Star Trek, and in order to do that, I think you almost have to be PG-13.
See, but then maybe that's why they wanted him to cut it up into 2 parts rather than just making a long movie. Because would you guys have wanted it to come out like his version of Justice League, where you get the whole thing, but it's kind of like in segments?
I don't mind the parts, but like he's saying that his director's cut, it's not like his other director cuts where Warner Brothers told him to, or I guess it wasn't always Warner Brothers, because same thing happened with Sucker Punch. Anybody that doesn't know, Zack Snyder has a history of theatrical releases being
him and a few directors
nowhere near as good as the director's cuts. BVS being the very important one, but Sucker Punch also was, the theatrical cut was very different, and the theatrical cut made everything just feel so much. And I love Sucker Punch. It's one of my favorite movies.
So while I was watching this movie, and with all the death scenes that was in this movie, how it was stylized, or it was kind of put off in the in the background when you saw people got shot, you just saw like their head go back, or when she pulled the trigger on the gun, like it just kind of cut, like the camera wasn't on the gun, you just heard
I
it.
gotcha. I think that's the PG-13.
Yeah, watching this movie going in, I was watching all these death scenes, and I was like, I wonder maybe he did it, where certain things were off screen where it looked kind of, blurry. I wonder if that was just him making it PG-13, and then when he comes back, he'll add all the.
It's going to include all of those beats.
From what he said, though, like this rated R director's cut is, so what I was getting at, like, this is not just cut scenes. He has said that this is pretty much a whole new movie.
Yeah.
Like he made this PG-13 version, but then his director's cut, rated R version, is like considered a parallel universe to this.
Oh no, which I believe, because every actor that's worked with Zack Snyder, well, I mean, I shouldn't say everybody, but they always say that he films so much stuff, where we heard, when he filmed Justice League, everybody was saying, when the hype mania was going around, release the Snyderverse, everybody that worked on that movie said he filmed enough of that movie to make 2 Justice League movies within just the first movie alone, so I do believe he has a lot of stuff.
It's not unheard of for a director to shoot more than what they need. I mean, you should be shooting more than what you need, especially if you're going to experiment with certain story beats or whatever, see if it works, see if it doesn't. I mean, we've all seen our share of deleted scenes where you go, boy, oh boy, that didn't work in that film, or stuff that got deleted, like BVS. the director's cut. I was like, oh my god, so much of that.
Oh yeah, no,
deleted.
Warner Brothers shame.
Yeah,
Shame.
hit the
on-
shame.
What was that? 5 owners ago? Because Warner Brothers has changed hands like 6 times at this point, and there's talk about Paramount merging. Fuck off.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Stop it.
Though if we get like a Star Trek DC movie, fucking do it.
Here we go.
Do it.
Mashups. We'll do
Star
an episode
Trek.
on mashups.
I mean, there was a comic book, a Green Lantern meets the Kirk's crew and stuff. So.
Wasn't there like a
would make
novel,
sense.
like like a legit book of Star Trek and X-Men?
Oh, fucking maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll look it up another time. But, fuck, what was my train of thought there?
The director filming so much stuff and
Yeah. Okay. So they shoot. Thank you. They shoot enough. They're supposed to shoot a lot, right? So again, it could either be they need it or they don't. But to look at it in that way of like, and it's a completely different movie. I'm like, okay, so what does that say about what was presented? It's the whole like first impressions. Like this is the movie that was given to us. I'm trying to ignore the whole like Snyder Cut history. I'm trying to ignore that he had pitched this to Lucasfilms or Disney, whatever, as a Star Wars film. I'm trying to ignore all of that. I'm trying to just watch this movie as the standalone movie.
yeah.
And as a standalone movie, even though it was a 2-parter, it wasn't treated or cut rather as a standalone movie. Rudy in a previous conversation had said it feels like it was just the one big movie and they just cleanly cut it down the middle. Now, Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2, it's this one overarching story, but he treated it as their own individual movies with, the closure at the end of their respective parts. Yes, there's a cliffhanger, sure, but it's that sort of resolution, and you go, okay. Earlier, you guys are talking about like asking questions, wanting to know more. There's a difference between being left wanting more, which is good, right? Wanting to know more about this universe. And then there's a difference between the difference from that is needing to know more. When you go, I didn't learn anything from that scene. I need to know more compared to wanting to know more. There is a difference. Wanting makes, this spin off into different sequels and stuff like that because this universe it's so rich. Needing to know more is bad storytelling.
I disagree. I do because the story is this particular fight against that particular dreadnought, the King's Gaze, on that particular world, and everything else. Yes, for us nerds, like I want / need to know more about this universe, but this story is this. And even though he seeded all this information and all
Right.
these things,
Which we're going to have to rewatch, yeah.
we don't really need to know it. We don't need to know the history of the Mother World and the Imperium and all these other races and these aliens and stuff like that, because this story is her finally kind of realizing she needs to stop these guys, stop the of that girl.
I have to
And
believe that.
yeah, sorry, stop the sexual assault. Yeah, no,
Surprise sex.
all struggle snuggle.
The fierce grip.
Never heard of struggle.
beep that.
The consent optional.
Yeah, no, all day I was thinking like, how do we approach that scene? How do we approach that scene without? Anyway,
The soldiers force themselves on this girl.
and again, I think, I think.
Walk me through this.
I think though that gets to my point though, like where our idea of what a movie should tell us and show us has just been so altered by what it is, because we don't need to know this stuff for this story.
So basically, we're all overthinking it.
No,
Maybe.
Yes.
Hold on, wait.
Maybe.
No, so
maybe a little too much.
Our nerddom, our fandom wants to know all this shit, but for this story, we don't need to.
No, I see. What I'm not talking about the mythology of this world. I'm talking about the specific characters.
Give me one.
Huh?
Give me a specific.
I didn't write anything.
Fucking do it.
I didn't write anything down.
Okay,
Fucking liar.
The guy in the hippogriff thing.
Okay, no, he's just shirtless. That's awesome.
Case in point. There you go. I rest.
I'm just saying, like his character. I didn't like. I got okay. So he's a bad dude
And shirtless.
and shirtless.
And glisten.
And like
oily.
he has a bearing about him that makes hippogriffs love him. Like, I understand that. Like, there's a thing there. But then I'm like, okay,
I must be a hippogriff.
He's just an animal whisperer, and then
You really are.
and then later, they refer to him as a prince of a conquered or destroyed world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so there's more there. But they didn't give me any more for the rest of it.
Do you need it for that story?
For that-
He was there to join the fight.
Okay.
He was there to join the fight.
Absolutely. For that movie, I didn't need it.
Yeah.
I didn't need it, but I wanted it.
Fucking point made.
But I wanted it, and I'm not trying to talk against or for anyone else's points.
Right,
I'm just saying, I wanted more from that character. I wanted more from the general. Me and Jermaine have talked about this. The general was hyped up, and then we got Mr. Man on the step, drunk
dude.
Yeah, the head up his ass. Like, no, like
Played by
that.
Jaime Hansu, beautiful man.
He performed. I mean, like when the fighting started, though, he did his shit,
Yeah.
and that's all you need to know for this story, right? That's how this works.
Like I said, we're all
Going back to this,
We're all overthinking it.
we want
Just a tad.
the dungeon manual of these worlds, but like he's telling a story at this moment, and this is what we get.
By definition and by technicality, yes, he did.
Yeah.
But it's Zack Snyder, and he is this higher caliber director, and it should have been deeper. Like I was left going like, okay,
Hold on. Let me reframe my argument. So I wanted to know more about those characters, their motivations to fight against this thing, as opposed to, oh, you guys are doing some cool shit. Let me come with you because I ain't got anything else going on.
That's what it felt
I wanted
like.
to know just a little bit more.
I felt like I missed something.
Just a little bit more of their motivations was
the sleeves are getting
Come
pulled
on,
up.
no, hit me. Let's go, baby.
Boy.
We've talked about this. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this
Give me another
in the podcast.
Suck it to me.
One of my things for especially sci-fi, because sci-fi world building versus like fantasy world building will always be huge, because there's you're talking about multi-planet galactic empires, right? And we see it in this world where
Are we going again?
oh yeah, let's do some shots.
Isaac just asked for one.
We talk about or I've talked about how I like to see what people are living for or fighting for, right? And that was one of my big complaints about Dune. I love Dune. Dune was a great movie, but I don't understand what anyone was fighting for, why anyone would fight for any of those empires, because all they showed us was just war and survival.
The spice.
Where
all
I've said it before about Star Wars, where like right away we got introduced to a bar and music and stuff like that. And this movie, same thing. Like the farmers were farming and they loved it. They had that like
That sense of community.
and community and
Connection
commitment
to
with
the
nature
land.
and stuff like that. Yeah. And then they showed us all the hold on. Taking a shot.
Like a pro in between sentence.
That's how you do it, baby.
But counter to all that, like why you would fight a rebellion, this movie did an amazing job of showing us why the Empire was evil. The Imperium. The Imperium was evil from bottom to top, right? Like Star Wars showed us them destroying a planet, Alderaan, in the first movie, and that was certainly evil. He wiped out everybody. But this movie showed us like even just the basic soldiers, from the grunt all the way to the commanding officer of that landing party, like doing some horrid stuff at a very personal level. And so you can only imagine that was happening at all the occupied planets.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, everywhere
They
that the Imperium showed up.
us, they told us, not to interrupt you, but they told us these people, regardless, want everything.
To quote Korra.
Yeah, she literally said everything.
They want everything, no matter what. And
what do you think they want?
And how they were,
Everything.
treating everybody. You saw, everybody was shitheads. So therefore, that's the cause of the rebellion. Whether you accept it or not. You know that was what Zack Snyder brought down that general to show you an example. When he killed what's his name that was on the planet again, where he killed the dude on the planet for not wanting to share the grain.
Hagen.
Yeah. So So how he killed him.
No, that wasn't the other guy. Sorry.
Sindri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Great beard.
So he killed him.
With the weird femur staff.
How he
thing.
killed him. He killed him, and the audience that he killed him in front of. You have to look at it that way. You know.
An illustration of the brutality of that.
Yeah, you have to pull
Mother World.
You have to see it, you know, to say, okay, he just did that. Like they just landed, you know, and that was how they treated those people. Like Doug just said. Imagine other worlds out there, you know. So
and they play. By the way, to your further your point, they were gonna take everything anyways.
Yeah,
and they in essence like played with their food.
Yeah.
Gave them that
like it's a cat and mouse
illusion of safety.
Yeah. So shirtless hottie, being a prince, being a prince, you have to imagine like him in his princehood, like probably experience something similar where the Imperium comes and here he comes like shirtless and princey, and the Imperium just like meh, like kill the guy in front of him or like whatever, right?
Just think everybody that they had to go gather. Everybody had a similar story from these people. They came and legit took everything from them. So just with that said alone, you know, if I'm in this universe, I'm like, sign me up, you know, especially if I was somebody, you know, like that prince, like that general, you know, anybody. It was just given to us right there in the beginning why this rebellion is even happening.
And let's not forget that gathering, other than the general, right? Because Cora knew of the general and wanted to go get her. Everyone else was gathered from Charlie Hunnam character,
right, boy.
which spoiler
You get
alert,
his
which
fucking name
I
right.
feel like we should spoiler alert this
play
from
Kai.
the very beginning. He was purposely gathering these people that were a pain in the ass, a thorn in the side to the Imperium because he was going to turn on them.
Which was a cool little twist. I mean,
Which was
didn't
was
see
an
it coming.
amazing.
if
It was
you
an
saw it
amazing
or if you
twist.
didn't see it.
Yeah,
I was
And
lost in his
so-
eyes. I'm like, he could do no wrong.
So Prince
wrong.
shirtless and lightsaber wielding nemesis and
Tarok.
all of them.
Tarok, yeah, that's his name. Tarek.
Oh, it was
Tarek or
yeah,
Tarok,
whatever.
however you
Prince
say it.
shirtless. Like they were obviously like a well-known pain in the ass in the Imperium enough that Charlie Hunnam's character knew to like let's recruit them.
Okay.
But you don't get that until the end of the movie.
Which would maybe be like my critique of the movie is like a lot of stuff was kind of revealed. Like even Cora's character, like we kind of got that slow introduction of who she was and who like why she is so important to the Imperium, why she was maybe sitting back instead of coming up right away and fighting. Like there was a lot of this slow
layered, yeah.
it was a slow introduction to who everybody was. And
Well, it was
which made the beginning like before we got that like I think this movie forces you to watch it and then sit and think about what happened as you got this information. You had to kind of go back and think about the character's actions beforehand.
because it did take its time with Cora. I think it took like the appropriate amount of time to set her up, and even her initially telling the village people about that ship, like they don't want anything but everything. And then when everything was going down, and you know all the bad guys are marching along, and you know the whole illusion of we're gonna have a drink together, she still stood back and said nothing. Because she knew that the farmers weren't fighters, and she knew that she wasn't going to be a one-girl army, which leads me to ask the question, what the fuck was she going to do with her Magnificent Seven? They didn't have anyone. They just had themselves. They got lucky with Ray Fisher's blood axe.
Go for it. We talked about it.
Me and Doug talked about this a little bit after he watched the movie. My whole thing was because they lifted that Seven Samurai thing where it's just those seven against a band of outlaws.
Right.
Band of Outlaws is a very, manageable scale. This is, they built as an Imperium, an empire spanning galaxies. I know it's just one ship of the Imperium that they're going up against, but when they beat that ship, the rest of the fleet's coming. Like
I think one of the characters.
how are they gonna resolve that? It's just
But I
this
feel-
small group of
Well,
people.
hold on. One of the characters.
Versus, the big ass, empire.
I forget who, but one of the characters goes, "Well, that's a little short-sighted, isn't it?" I mean, that's out of their mouth. They're like,
Yeah.
"Isn't this plan a little short-sighted?"
But
But
to
you
that
got
point.
to quote Poe Dameron, you got to be the spark that lights the fire that burns
even though
the
you
empire
said,
now.
That's
you
all
have
right.
this
That's
small
Spark being
group,
Prince Shirtless.
going against this empire, and it's more so the message that this 7 group is going to spread. So
Literally the spark that burns the first
yeah,
fire down.
so I look at it, any vast story, whether you say Star Wars, anything like that, it always starts with that ember of the rebellion. And then because there's even people in this movie that don't want anything to do with the battle because they know, they're like, what are we going to do? But if this 7, can actually do something, take a ship, wound them, maybe everybody will see we can all rise up and stop these people just like how these 7 did. Imagine if we had many.
Right.
Yeah, because the implication, like the fact that they sent one dreadnought, right, to this world. I mean, I don't know if they never ever really established what that dreadnought was doing other than just procuring supplies.
It was on a hunt for the small insurgency.
Oh, that's right, the blood
Which is the
axes,
blood
or whatever.
axes,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The blood axe.
So it's like they sent one dreadnought. So it's like exactly that. If one group of a few people can take down a dreadnought, then what's to stop the 2 systems over from someone taking down their dreadnought?
And imagine this.
5 systems over taking down their dreadnought.
And imagine this, just like how society works, these people that are in this empire, they seem like they don't really have anything. Like they're taking resources from everybody else. So imagine if you can cut off their resources. What are they going to have? They're almost like
That's a good point.
They're almost like a Spartan race where Spartans were always about war.
Right. Built for it.
They
Trained for it.
they bred warriors.
for it.
That's all they did. So just taking that knowledge from what Zack Snyder gave us, these people seem like they just go out and take, and they don't farm their own food. They don't do any. They're reliant on other planets to do that for them.
Yeah.
So
Very
if you can cut
bullies.
that off,
Yeah.
what are they going to have?
To your earlier point, going back to like the the inspiration of like the these few people. The funny part where I really like woke up and was like, wait a second. The group that they ended up talking with was the rebellion essentially, right? Blood Axe and his sister, and even she was like, "What? Up against them?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're the rebellion. You're supposed to
I
go."
don't know if they ever said that like they were the rebellion, but they were a
Okay.
rebellious group.
But now because she lost her brother, I feel like she's coming back with the
Harder motivation.
with
Yeah.
the arsenal,
with the rest of the group.
with everyone.
That was the part though that like again can't help but to compare it to Star Wars, and I guess ultimately like I do wish this was a Star Wars movie. That aspect, I think back to I guess Solo would be the one movie that covered the beginning of the rebellion, and then the Rebels cartoon kind of dealt with that. I do wish there was a Star Wars movie that paralleled this. That idea of one planet, and again, the Rebels cartoon come up with that with a low fall, was that one planet that was kind of like, fuck this empire, and doing their own rebellion, and then maybe hearing about, oh, there's a larger rebellion. Let's go join that. Like there's, to me, rebellion versus a larger empire will always make for interesting storytelling, and I think that's why the original trilogy and
Everyone loves an underdog story.
yeah, exactly. And when you're dealing with a galactic wide empire and rebellion, like there's so much potential for that. Like that's why I going back to Rebels and Rogue One and everything with Saw Gerrera. Like the fact that like he had a rebellion, but it was so much more like extreme,
Right.
That even the Rebel Alliance was like, I don't know if we want to associate with him, but we're glad he's there. We're glad he's doing his thing, but we don't like. I love that kind of storytelling, and we got a little bit of that with this, where it was like, you know, Cora again, like she didn't want to cause shit because she knew these farmers couldn't fight it, but and I appreciate that as soon as she stepped up and was like, no, we're gonna fight, we're gonna kill. She immediately like turned off that hesitation and was like, all right, we gotta go get this
cool
general
switch.
we gotta go get some thing.
Yeah.
Like she knew what she was doing, and then like she had known about this rebellion. And again, I think that was just a part of a rebellion. And maybe in this universe there's not an organized alliance, right? Like the Blood Axis are doing their things, and who knows what's happening on the other side.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know anything about this
what
universe.
else
It's
is
fun.
going on yet.
For what it's worth, too, Snyder knows how to shoot a fucking movie. He knows how to shoot action brilliantly, and every single fight scene, even from the start of like her fight scene, was just fucking beautifully done.
Yeah.
You know, like I kind of wanted more action. There was enough action scenes in there to like have me locked in, but those moments where it was, you know, a little bit slower paced and you're paying attention to the story, and maybe I'll have a different feeling on the rewatch, you know, but on the initial watch, I just wasn't as impressed as I thought I was going to be. If I have to think too much about it, the way that you're like, well, because of this, and if you think about that, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just me, maybe it wasn't presented to me as such, you know. I mean, the thing is too, and again, it's not to put a lot of weight into like the score, but there's something to that of like, I'm not the only one thinking similarly or like this.
There's two things that I
love this breakdown though, you know?
I shouldn't say fight with when I watch a movie, but you know how when you watch a movie, there's movies that explain and they give you everything. You know, you don't have to think about anything, right?
Sure.
So
like spoon feed the exposition.
yeah, like they give you everything. And then there's movies, you know, that you have to kind of fill in the gap, you know, per se. Just like this movie, you know, there's people that want to know more about the lore. They want to know, you know, they want more from the characters, you know, to say why I should feel for these characters and why this rebellion is even, you know, taking place.
Wow.
So
Alva here.
You as an audience member,
Bruce's family's
you're
coming
gonna
over.
have to
Making tamales.
you're gonna watch this movie and you're gonna be one of those persons where you can fill it in and say, you know, okay, this is why the rebellion, you know, happened. You know, these people landed. Look how they acted. Or you're gonna be one of those persons that, you know, I need more. And even those movies that have, you know, like a open ended. You know how everything is left to your imagination. You know, to say what really happened at the end of the movie. Did they end up, you know, getting away? You know, is it a happy ending? Are they going to, you know, move forward together, or are they going to separate? You know, I know a lot of people that don't like those open-ended movies, you know, because they're like, I have to know what happened.
Yeah.
And when things are left to your imagination, you know, they don't like what they created in their head because they want to know. So that's kind of what I go through when I watch a movie. It's either I take everything for what it is, or I put my own Lego pieces in there to fill in, you know, whatever blank that the director, you know, is like giving you, but you have to, you know, sit there and look deeper into the movie. You know, like these characters, you would think, yes, they all had a life, you know, they were probably, you know, some living a good life, you know, some better than others, but it wasn't bad like how this is. So
Right. Yeah.
So you just have to fill that in, you know, to say, yes, you know, these people are going through this. So, you know, that's why they're rising up.
And if it has to be said, I don't think that this movie is terrible at all. I don't agree with the critic score being so low. I wouldn't dissuade people from watching this movie. It being a fucking visual spectacle, go check it out. It's streaming. It's on Netflix. Have fun. You may play it in the background because the story, you know, may get lost on you, but still it is a fun movie to check out. It's a fun movie to try to like the way Doug's breaking it down, the way we're all talking about it is like I would love to hear everyone's thoughts and theories and opinions and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like it's a solid movie. I feel
for
it's a
the
solid movie.
sequels to come.
I'm not saying it's the greatest thing, but I feel like it's a solid movie.
Yeah.
I just want to say I really do think that people's expectations going into this. I mean, maybe not because you crushed it because you told us at the beginning of this episode that you didn't know it was like a Star Wars thing. I kind of wonder how many people went into this just expecting like, oh, this is gonna be the next Star Wars. Let's watch it, and because it didn't meet those expectations.
By the way, that's a really hard standard to hit too.
Yeah,
but
so
it
gets down to the question that I asked you guys before we started recording today was just if Star Wars didn't exist right now, and the first one came out today, assuming it was modernized, modern graphics and special effects, and I don't know, probably more diversity or whatever. I personally think Star Wars would be absolutely shat on. I think people would hate Star Wars if it came out today.
Oh, yeah.
It would be made fun of constantly. It would be ripped apart. People would laugh at it.
Because we are in an era where everyone says what happened to Hollywood. Why is it all adaptations? Why is it all unoriginal content? Why is it all sequels and prequels and spin-offs and everything, right? That's where we're in the era, and that's why I think it would get shit on. Because it is a completely I wouldn't say it has its influences in like Seven Samurai, right? Star Wars, right? But it is completely its own thing, so much so that again in today's era, people would be like, it's too different. Even no matter how it's like delivered.
Yes and no. I mean, yeah, I think just we live in a world now where I think people just expect stuff to be so grounded, and there's so much. I know we're part of it because we're a podcast that talks about movies.
What would define grounding?
But
because for me, when I say grounded, I think about grounding your characters, making them seem real.
No, I think beyond the characters being real, I think we live in a world where people they want everything to make sense from the world of physics, from science and everything. And so like Star Wars explicitly like, okay, a lightsaber kind of makes sense, but a lightsaber deflecting a laser shot doesn't.
Have you seen the Fast and Furious franchise?
I think that movie is one that we've all accepted.
It evolved into
its
own superhero universe.
They said Vin Diesel's character, I don't remember his fucking name.
Dom.
That he's like he's the most overpowered superhero in a non-superhero Marvel franchise.
But I forgot where I was going with that.
Gotta pee.
Grounded.
Yeah, like I think
Star Wars being
people
in today's
just
era.
want like I know I've said it before, but it's like I think people have forgotten that these movies they're not reality. They're not supposed to be a documentary about some parallel world. They're fucking visual art pieces. Mm-hmm. And their storytelling and so it's like, yeah, you know what, so to use Star Wars as an example, like I was just saying, like the lightsaber deflecting a laser shot makes zero sense. There's no way anyone can convince me that a sword built out of light could deflect a laser shot back at someone. It makes zero sense. And I'm not going to go into
the physics of it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about it. Right? It's cool.
But it doesn't matter because it looks fucking amazing.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And I think that's why, like, if Star Wars came out today, people would shit on it because we want to make these like things. And part of that is because YouTubers make money off of breaking down the physics of a movie.
Oh God.
And what's the rule 99.1? If you've ever heard of it, the general consensus is that like 90% of Twitter, Reddit users are lurking.
Huh, okay.
9% are sharing and resharing, and 1% are creating new content. Huh. And it's a good rule to remember whenever you start hearing about opinions or whatever, because what it means is that only like 1% of the people on these sites are generating the opinion, 9% are sharing, and 90% are lurking. And they talk about this in like the comic book world. I just recently read an article about this in Twitter comics or comic Twitter. I don't know. I'm not too big on Twitter or X. Sorry, Twitter doesn't exist anymore. Where people are generating these opinions, and then other people just read them and follow them, and reshare and restate these opinions without ever reading the comic book.
Agreed. Yeah.
I do feel like it's a lot of mob mentality type things that happen on the internet.
And so Rebel Moon, I think, is, and I haven't experienced it because I'm not in that world. I'm not on X. I'm not on Reddit too much, and I probably should be.
Yeah, there's a lot of porn on it. So I hear.
Yeah. But I do feel like this movie is like perfectly set up for that, where someone on YouTube is gonna like put out the 4-hour video of why Rebel Moon sucks. Someone's gonna watch it and be like, yeah, and then they're just gonna repeat it, and they'll never see it. And then everyone that watched the first movie and everyone that first watched that first video and never watched the second video and everybody else's second videos, like they're not gonna give it a shot, and they're all gonna have these like very manufactured complaints about it without really thinking it through.
And that's exactly, it's kind of leading to what I'm going to say is, like, I wish people kind of go into this as open-minded as possible, trying to go in it as cleanly as possible, which is difficult, right? For, like I said before, for sure watch it because it's like visually fucking stunning.
Yeah, and it's good fucking sci-fi.
It's great sci-fi. And as far as like physics, like I don't, I check my brain out at the door. If people can enjoy the Fast and Furious franchise, you can check your brain out at the door, right? Like it doesn't fucking matter.
Oh yeah, you got to go in there and just be unplugged and just enjoy it for what it is.
And if you notice, my only critique of this movie, is, my major critique as far as like what could have made it work a little bit better is just presenting the characters in such a way where I would have maybe cared about them more, because I wanted to care about these people.
They should all like whip their titties out.
100%. Hey man,
has anyone seen the
Hey, Prince topless could do it.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen the trailer for part 2?
No.
I watched a little teaser of it. Yeah.
So
I haven't seen it yet, but I know it's out.
It's what you expect. They get back to the planet and they start to dig in for the fight. And I can imagine while they're making the fortifications or while they're training the farmers to fight, more of those individual stories are going to be explored. But then Zack Snyder himself has described the movie as more of a war movie. So I don't know how long they're actually going to get between that and then the actual start of the fight.
It'll probably be cut like in the fight.
So
They'll do some backlash. Sorry.
I want to take this thing as a whole. Even though if you have a movie, that movie should be able to stand by itself. And I agree with you on that point because you've said it before, Isaac. A movie should be able to stand by itself, and then the sequel will stand by itself. Together, they'll make a cohesive whole. But I think this was
Megazord of a movie.
I think this was just one big movie, and they cut it in half. And the first part is the first part, and then the second part is the second part, and they're going to mesh together and tell a complete story.
Yeah. Which I think I'm going to disagree with you guys and say, fuck you. 'Cause that's how you properly disagree in today's world. It's like, you guys are fucking idiots, fucking morons. No, but I think if from the beginning you establish it as a part 1 and part 2, I don't know if they necessarily need to stand completely.
Oof.
I think, I mean... You shouldn't walk away with like, oh, that was a waste of time.
No,
which I don't think this was.
No. I will say that,
walk away with like, I have questions. I need to know more. It's like that's the point of a part 1 and a part 2.
So I know you guys, are talking about how this movie should be able to stand alone by itself.
They are.
So did you guys feel the same way about Spider-Verse? Regardless of how good it was, because it was so fucking good. But regardless of how good that movie was, even when it ended, is it one of those movies that you're like, you feel or you felt complete, or you wanted more, even though you
I
knew
never feel complete.
that it was a part. What happened?
No, you're like over the microphone.
Oh. But so what I'm trying to say is, did you feel the same way with Spider-Verse, regardless of how, good that movie was? When it ended, did you feel like you were complete? Like how you just said,
Yeah.
Rebel Moon didn't fulfill you enough.
Yes.
Different. I would say it's different.
I absolutely felt that all the Spider-Verse movies, both of them so far, right? Too.
Yeah.
We're good standalone movies.
Yeah.
And they
set
had
up
the resolution.
They set up the next movie,
Yeah.
of course. They set
Yeah.
up, a climax. But as a self-contained movie, everything I wanted.
Not to steal your idea or thunder, I would say Dune is a better example. Where Dune is one that the new Dune, the remake, is one that Warner Brothers had the opportunity to just film all three movies.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone generally, the general consensus is it should be a trilogy.
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers from the get-go had the opportunity to just film all at once, but they weren't sure about the
outcome
of it, right? So they filmed one of them and it did amazingly well, and then they're like, okay, we'll film the second. And that, I feel like,
because it was just like Lord of the Rings or even Harry Potter.
well, but Lord of the Rings from the get-go, they gave Peter Jackson the just film all three.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, and Harry Potter they knew.
Yeah.
But Dune, they filmed that first one, and like I left that theater like absolutely wanting more. I was mad that they hadn't already started filming the second, right? And then of course the pandemic hit, so it's delayed. We're not going to get Dune 2 for like a year. But that's more on the line of I think what you're trying to get at as far as like that first movie was self-contained, but there was certainly more that I want. And now that I think about it, now that I'm talking about it, it's like I think that's a good example of just like Dune left more to the questioning than what Rebel Moon has left us, and I didn't hear that kind of complaint for Dune. Oh, you disagree? Oh, you're shaking your head. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So I knew nothing about Dune going into it.
you seem to know nothing.
And I'm on brand.
Motif.
I drink and I know nothing. Can I get a shirt made, Rachel? And that movie explained stuff enough for me where I was like, okay, I know about.
Why was the
Can I
white guy
get to
floating
my
around?
point? My God.
I mean, you said explain enough.
Well, I don't know the fucking finite details, man.
That's what I'm saying about Rebel Moon.
No.
Okay. All right, get to your fucking point.
Like a 60-year-old mom in the 70s. Go ahead, get to your point.
God.
Go on, you kids and your points. You see it? You kids and your points. Steven,
hear
get
it.
down
Let's
from
hear
there,
it.
Steven.
They both did it at the same
Points.
time.
Back in my days, they didn't
I'm
have points.
Fucking done.
Back in my days, points. What were points?
Wow.
Well, drink your Truly.
Okay, I'm trying to watch my calorie intake.
Oh, serious? I didn't even realize I didn't realize we had that many Trulies at the house.
So my comparison, if I were to compare Dune with Rebel Moon, is Dune built the characters enough, it told the story enough, and again, my whole issue isn't with the mythology, it's not with the backstory, the lore. Like, it established that well enough where it told me enough where I was like, I'm on board, I know what's happening. I don't need to create this whole fucking vision board and link it up with red yarn and stuff like that. Whereas I wasn't necessarily able to follow along or keep interested enough with Rebel Moon enough to actually follow with this particular story. And again, to clarify, the issue isn't wanting more. It's like it's needing to know more. Like, wanting more is okay, right? That's any particular movie, thus bearing sequels and stuff like that. It was that I needed to know more as far as not Dune, sorry, as far as Rebel Moon is concerned, in order to just give a shit more about the characters and all the things that are happening to them. I was like, yes, they technically did that. I mean, now I feel like I'm going in circles, but like, it's yes, this Rebel Moon did that by definition, by technicality. It just didn't do it in such a way where the characters felt grounded. It felt hollow. They felt two-dimensional. Yes, they didn't. Here's their motivation. But I was like, okay, I guess that's what they're presenting to me. Very like, here it is.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, let's dig a little bit deeper as like a filmmaker, as storytelling, to make it feel three-dimensional, to make it feel even more lived in as far as those characters are concerned. Not so much as like the world. I have no issue with the world.
But see, that's where I would argue that Dune failed, specifically in the world building, is Dune gave us no reason why anyone was fighting
For spice.
But even why spice was economic value, but what was anyone getting from that economic value?
Spice of their food, bro.
Yeah, I guess. But like they didn't show us like Timothée Chalamet's character, like his whole family, and
He had all the spicy food, bro.
yeah, I guess so. Like they were all about war, and then Batista's family was floating around all about war. There was no indication of like why anyone would be fighting, other than like Zendaya's people were like that was their home planet and everyone was fighting for. It's like I guess I got them, but like I didn't understand why anyone else was fighting. And I agree with you, like from a personal character point of view, maybe like Dune did a better job of explaining those. But I mean, like in fairness, they had like 3 people to deal with, where like obviously Zack Snyder was trying to introduce us to like this Magnificent Seven or whatever. But I feel like I don't know, I understand the motivations of the Rebel Moon characters more than I do the Dune characters. Dune was fucking great. I'm not shitting on Dune. I'm just saying like
love Dune, but for me it was like a slow burn for me.
Yeah.
I just really have an issue with any, especially sci-fi. Like they have to show me what they're fighting for. Even going back to Star Wars, like right away we saw, Luke whining like a little bitch about wanting to go to Haji Station.
Oh, dude,
like even 15-year-old kids on Tatooine had like a life.
Yeah.
And and then they went to a bar and there was like drinking and shit and like jazz or jizz
You know what
music.
they didn't have,
It was
though?
called
Jizz.
jizz. Yeah, it was jizz music.
They didn't. They didn't have mind controlling parasite things though.
That Parasite was so fun.
I love the aliens.
I
in
don't
Rebel,
know
but-
if I'm right or if I'm wrong with the whole spice thing. Isn't spice a thing in that universe? Those who control the spice control.
It was an oil.
The
Was
oil
it like a natural resource to get around?
for like ships.
Yeah.
I honestly
It was
don't
totally
remember.
an oil. What's the word? Analogy.
Yeah, but wasn't a thing that
That's why I was in a desert.
if you had spice, you could travel
Yeah,
through space. You know?
Spice was the analogy for like the fueling the ships.
And they were selling it, so therefore, this one group, was in control of all the spice.
Yeah. But I still want to know why that was important, and I never got that in Dune, at least the modern one, right? Like no one, like going back to 300, we saw the Spartans had like a life with family and kids and stuff, and then Xerxes had like his fun mutant brothel. Like I understood why Xerxes wanted power. He wanted like to expand his brothel. Like even simple things like that, where like Dune showed me nothing of that.
Oh yeah, special needs brothels.
Fuck yeah, whatever.
I don't think that was his main motivation, but yeah,
seen
I
those-
understand.
No, but
You ever seen those bitches on a pole?
we saw Xerxes and at least his men like gaining something from his expansion of power, and we didn't get that with Dune, and that's my argument with Rebel Moon is like we got that on both sides. Like people had a peaceful life as farmers, and the Imperium had, I don't know, their wacky assault life. It's just something that I think sci-fi movies and stories should be cognitive. Or is that the word?
Yeah.
About, I'm very drunk.
Cognizant?
Yeah. I don't know. Thoughtful about, thinking
Conscious
about.
of.
Conscious. Oh, that's a good one. That's easy. Conscious of. That I think Rebel Moon did a good job about. I don't know. I'm like ready to like, let's put on the fucking gloves. I'll fight people for Rebel Moon.
Fight?
And I'm ready. Like once I'm sure the director's cut, like I'm gonna love, because again, Sucker Punch,
Excuse me,
as well as
while I drink my Luke Skywalker milk.
it's not blue. It's just jizz.
I think we should put a pin in it on that fucking point. We're gonna run circles and circles.
I mean, and plus we're arguing half the point because we've only seen half of the
Correct.
story.
Yeah.
We're gonna get another movie.
Right? We've seen
the first part.
We're arguing about
quarter of the
half
point?
of the non-director's cut, right? Like there's a lot to this. Either way, Zack Snyder.
Needless to say, we
I'll suck
fucking
your
love
dick.
Zack Snyder. None of us are shitting on the movie. We just think, there's some things to critique about it. I love that we love it. I love that we're back, that we're hyped about something, and we can all love each other at the very end. Give me your fucking hand.
Oh, sorry.
To
Give me your fucking
disagree.
hand.
No, don't touch me.
Are we doing a young Sheldon right now?
I don't watch.
We
that
can just
shit.
pretend that the whole. Okay.
Thank you guys
Oh, your
for.
hands are moist.
Jeez. I've been sitting on them the whole time.
Oh man, does anybody have any last words about this before we wrap it on up?
Have you ever given yourself a stranger?
All right, well that's a place to fucking as good as any or
think
whatever. I'm
Jimmy
gonna
gives a good
need to change
stranger?
my outro fucking line.
Huh?
Jimmy from Rebel Moon gives a good handy
Oh,
as he
yeah.
The
blushes.
strangers where you fall, you fall.
Do you think he has hand warmers in his hands?
Oh, Jimmy seems very like
That would be the
adaptable. Yeah,
That'd be the comfort model.
yeah.
So if you want to check us out, you can find us
His
at
face lights
the Hype
change
Attack
difference with the
on
bukkake.
Instagram and on TikTok. And you guys, you want to plug your guys' respective Instagrams?
Well,
It's
hold on
it's been a while.
Before we get there,
Sure.
These visual episodes are going to be on YouTube, and
Yep.
so everyone follow the Instagram. I said it Instagram. Follow the YouTube channel.
Yeah, follow the YouTube.
The link is already in our link tree,
To the
but we'll
tubes.
be pushing that
Yep.
in videos. We have
yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
of commercials that me and Jermaine that shot going to come up. We're going to have links to everything. Get in there, follow, like, subscribe,
Share,
follow,
follow, yes.
share,
Help
comment.
people.
If you listen to the audio portion of this on Spotify or anywhere else, give us comments, rate, review. All that stuff helps us get out into the wider world, and that's where we want to be. We want all of you to come with us.
Yeah,
Tell your
come-
friends, tell your family, tell your grandma.
Yeah, like, hopefully, Grandma.
Join
Grandma
the
Gentry.
hype. The hype wants you.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts about this first episode back into the second season?
I'm so happy to be back.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm disappointed. I told myself not to be like, let's not get drunk every episode, and here I am.
Yeah, I got here at 10 a.m. and this guy was already drinking, so.
Yeah.
Well, we
So it
have
was a
to-
rough day.
We
at
have
work.
to at least start and end seasons uproariously drunk.
Yeah, right. Because people like Isaac will be like, "Where's the connection point? I got questions."
Why do I
he
care
was
about your
drunk at the
alcohol
end of
drinking?
season 2, and he's not drunk now. What is this?
I can't follow Rebel Moon.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Same hype attack.
Whoa,
Different season.
Put down the truly.
Hell
It's
yeah.
confusing.
It's like I never left. I swear to God.
Yeah, no.
So check us out on
He
all
really
the
hasn't.
social. Check us out on all
Please
social medias.
get the fuck out of here.
We'll be back weekly again. You guys want to give a little tip on what we're going to be checking out next time?
Oh, we're gonna talk about Godzilla.
Yeah. And not just
Minus
minus
one.
one, covering the world of Godzilla.
Yeah, but
Well,
mostly
it
minus
deserves
one
it.
because it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, so I think I don't know. It's probably gonna be too late by the time we release this, but I think the American release is extended till January 3rd. So probably too late. If you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, fuck off. Same high time.
Same high channel.
Hyper